Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back into another video. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about how you guys can find your niche. Specifically, your niche in a business that you want to do. That's what we're going to be talking about today, and just pretty much going over a couple of those, different things that you can try and do. Now, what is a niche, you might be wondering? Well, a niche is pretty much like, think about it like this. It's something that you like doing. That's pretty much what like a niche is. I mean, I can look up the exact definition actually. A niche is pretty much something that you're like passionate about, that you love doing. I mean, that's pretty much the general idea of what a niche is. And for those of you out there who are wondering what your niche is, or maybe you want to get into, the whole like business thing and you don't really know exactly what you want to sell, but you want to sell something, well, that's why I'm making this video for you guys today. So let's give a couple of examples of what exactly, like what are niches. Well, maybe one of your niches are selling markers. Maybe one of the things you like to do is make your own markers and you want to sell them. Maybe that's something you like doing. Or let's say you love painting, right? Let's say painting is a hobby that you like doing and you kind of want to sell those. That would be your niche. You have something like a piece of jewelry, right? Like this is some jewelry, and let's say it's something that you handmade, or maybe you just buy it off a line and or you buy it online and you try to sell it. That's pretty much what like a niche is. But let's say you don't really know what your niche is. Let's just say that you don't really know what you want to sell, and you're kind of in this position where it's like, I know all these things that I like to do, but I don't know how to really implement that idea. Think about a couple of different things that you would want to potentially sell. Maybe it's something you've seen online. Maybe it's something you've done in real life that you've seen people wearing. Like maybe something that you like doing is you like drawing, so maybe you can kind of get into the thing of like drawing for people. Maybe it can be like digital arts that you sell to people after they like come to you and ask you to make something for them. Like that's kind of what you got to start thinking about when it comes to having a niche. One of the hardest things for me was really trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do for my business and stuff. And one of the hardest things that I ran into was finding exactly what I wanted to sell and how I could really implement that idea into the whole thing. For example, I started off trying to sell a bunch of different products, and then I tried to sell a slushy cup, and then I tried to sell jewelry, and then now obviously I'm selling like a book and a bunch of merchandise and bracelets and all those different things. And I think it took me a while to figure out exactly what I wanted to do, but eventually I did land on it. Now, I'm not saying you have to go through that whole process of finding a bunch of different niches and then testing all of them to see which works. I mean, I feel like you should know a little bit about what you want to sell, but now it's kind of just finding exactly what it is you want to sell. Let's say you're someone who likes jewelry, right? Let's say you want to get into the whole jewelry thing, and you want to make your own jewelry for people, you want to sell it, and do all those different things. Maybe it's custom made ones, or maybe it's like let's say it's branded around like an animal theme, or maybe it's branded around like, I don't know, maybe like kind of a dark theme, right? Like, or maybe astrology. Like there's all these different themes that you can have with jewelry, and maybe you're like, well, I don't know which one to pick. Well, it really depends at the end of the day what you want to do. You can either teeter towards things that you would genuinely like to wear, or you can, try to sell things that other people like to wear, or maybe something that's like, kind of blowing up right now. Like let's say astrology was like a big thing, and I know right now it kind of is a big thing, but let's just say it was like at its peak right now and you really wanted to start selling that stuff. That would be something that you kind of would do. I do believe that selling stuff while it's trendy is not good for long term. I believe that it's only good for the short term, and even then I still wouldn't even sell stuff that's like trendy. Obviously you want to sell things that are trendy, don't get me wrong, but like don't sell things when they're like just trendy for this time. Think about it like fidget spinners. Fidget spinners were popular in 2016 or something like that. It was a thing that everybody was talking about. But if you were to try to sell those nowadays, it would be like people would look at you weird and be like, what are you doing? So you kind of have to know exactly what you're selling, and just make sure that whatever it is that it's not something that is a part of a trend, like as of right now. And just make sure it's something that you're genuinely like happy to sell and passionate about. Otherwise, you're never gonna want to really sell it as much as you would if you actually cared about that item. What is the number one thing when selling products? Well, you kind of have to think about it in like the long term of things. For example, let's say you really like making, I don't know, let's say you like making t-shirts, right? Like that's one of the things you like doing. Like let's say you specifically like making tie-dye shirts and you want to make those tie-dye shirts and try to sell them online for people to buy. Now, I would say typically tie-dye shirts are more of something you would buy in the summertime. So if you're thinking about selling that specific thing, I would get everything prepped up in like the springtime, so then once summer comes around, that's when you can really try to like promote it and really try to get it out there. Let's say you get it done in the summertime and now it's winter and you're like, oh man, no one's really gonna want to buy this because it's no longer summertime. So you got to think ahead of what exactly your thing is and how you want to sell it. There's also niches that are only available in certain time periods. Like I gave an example about the shirts, but there's also a couple of other things. Like for example, let's say you're selling like popsicles, right? Let's just say that as an example. You're selling popsicles and you're starting your thing in the summertime, and now that the summer is over and you have everything completely done, you're now left with popsicles to try to sell in the fall or in the winter, and that's just not going to sell as well because it's no longer the time period of summer. Now, does that mean you're not going to get any sales? Not necessarily, but you kind of have to think about what item you are trying to sell, and you got to kind of think about what time period it would sell best at. For example, like I have hoodies and stuff on my website. Those hoodies are probably not going to sell as much over the summer as the t-shirts will, or as the hats will. And during the winter time, the t-shirts might be still fine, but the hats wouldn't sell as much over the winter as much as like a hoodie would. So you kind of have to know like what you're selling and why people would want to buy that item. That's also a good point that I just mentioned, is why people would want your item over somebody else's. So once you find out what you like and what you're passionate about, what you want to sell, you got to think about, why would someone buy mine over somebody else's? Now there could be a couple of different reasons. There could be the cause of what it's for. Maybe all of your stuff that you're selling is going towards, like, I don't know, maybe it's gonna be donated or whatever it might be, or maybe it's gonna be put back into the business or whatever, and really like, I don't know, just to promote it a little bit more. It depends what you are trying to do and how you're trying to do it. But I would just say to avoid the silly mistakes that I made, because like I was just going to originally try to sell like jewelry, like just plain old boring jewelry that everybody else is selling online and on the internet and whatnot. And sure, I was making, I would be able to make them at home, but at the same time, it's like I didn't really think about, well, everybody else is selling this type of jewelry. Now, if your jewelry is, more extravagant and more unique, then obviously that's a different thing. But if you're looking at, trying to buy jewelry and you're like looking at buying these jewelry off of Amazon to like make and whatnot, it probably isn't going to do as well unless you're actually the one making the jewelry, like making it from homemade. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's really up to you on what you want to sell. If there is something you're genuinely talented at, and you know, something you know you can do well at, that's gonna be the thing you want to target the most. Now, I also want to mention, do not mix up a like hobby with business, okay? Because you know, people say that, you know, your hobby, once you start making money off of it, is no longer just a hobby. And I would say that's wrong. I would say that's just not true, because I'm someone who genuinely likes to make like designs of different things, and I like to create different things, you know, for other people and whatnot. And you know, even though I am making money off of certain things, it's like I still don't look at it as, oh, I need to make this because it makes me money. I'm just like, I just genuinely enjoy it. And I think that's what all niches should be. And if you're going to start off in the business industry trying to sell things that you make or whatever it might be, just remember, your hobby can still correlate to business. It doesn't have to just be business related. Now, I get it. If you were to be getting like 50 sales to now where you're making a bunch of different like products at the same time, to now where you no longer have free time to just create whatever, I can see how that would be overwhelming. But I would definitely say at the start, it is still your hobby. It's still something you like to do. So don't worry about something that you love becoming something that is just business related, because that's not always how it works. And I think we need to kind of, you know, we need to debunk that little thing where people say once you start making money off of it, it's no longer just a hobby. Because I still enjoy making all these different things for, you know, Flip the Mind and whatever it may be, and I still enjoy it to the full degree, right? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you guys subscribe and leave a like down below. I will be uploading a video on Monday and next Friday as well, so keep posted or keep up to date with that and everything. You guys can join the Discord as well. It's on my website. You guys can join it right there. And yeah, I will see you guys later. Peace out.